Okay, so this time our topic is about Module 6, no, Incident Response and Digital Forensic. No? I'm done already with my Digital Forensic class. No? That is, I think, how many hours? No? That's an international class, no, for a short-term program focused on digital forensic, no, and in the internet forensic now. So our topic, of course, is one of the topic focus on incident response. Now, incident response and digital forensic actually are critical components of cybersecurity, ensuring that organization can effectively detect, respond to, and recover from security incidents. So as cyber threats continue to evolve, organization must establish structured incident response plan and leverage forensic analysis techniques to mitigate risk and protect sensitive data. So this process help organization minimize the impact of cyber attacks, identify vulnerabilities, and strengthen security measures. And to give us more details about the topic, let us all welcome our presenter. Go ahead.
Module 6, Incident Response and Digital Forensics. Incident Response and Digital Forensics. Digital Forensics and Incident Response, or DFIR, is a specialized field focused on identifying, remediating, and investigating cybersecurity incidents. As the name suggests, DFIR consists of two related components. Digital forensics involves collecting, preserving, and analyzing forensic evidence. Digital forensic and incident response process is identify, analysis, preserve, report, and collect. Digital forensic is the process of storing, analyzing, retrieving, and preserving electronic data that may be useful in an investigation. It includes data from hard drives in computers, mobile phones, smart appliances, vehicle navigation systems, electronic door locks, and other digital devices. Digital forensic and incident response is a practice used by incident response teams, also known as Computer Security Incident Response Team, or CSIRT, to detect, investigate, and respond to cyber threats facing an organization. Digital forensic process is data collection, analysis, examination, and reporting. And the incident response process is preparation, detection and analysis, containment, eradication, recovery, and post-incident review. Number one is preparation. The goal is ensure that the organization is ready to respond effectively to security incidents. Key activities: developing an incident response plans or IRP, a detailed plan with clear steps to follow during a security incident. Then, establishing an incident response team or IRT, a team of skilled personnel with defined roles and responsibilities. Training and awareness. Regular training for the IRT and employees on security, best practices, and incident handling procedure. Tools and resources. Ensuring the right tools like forensic software, monitoring system are in place for detection, analysis, and response. Communication plans. Clear procedure for internal and external communication during an incident. Number 2, detection. Goal niya is identify that an incident has occurred as early as possible. Key activities: monitoring, continuous monitoring of network traffic, logs, and endpoints for any signs of malicious activity. Anomaly detection, using intrusion detection or prevention system, IDS or IPS, security information and event management or CM system, and other tools to spot suspicious behavior or attacks. Incident reporting, ensuring there is a process for employees to report suspicious activity quickly. Alerts, responding to automated alerts and investigating their severity. 3. Containment. Goal is limit the spread of the attack to minimize damage. Key activities: short-term containment, quickly isolate affected system or networks to stop further damage. Example, disconnecting from the network or disabling accounts. Long-term containment, more in-depth strategies like segmenting networks, applying patch, or setting up temporary defense while the incident is being fully handled. Minimizing impact, ensure the business continues functioning as much as possible while the attack is contained. Number 4, eradication. Goal is remove the root cause of the incident, example, malware or attacker access. Key activities, identify the source, truly analyze the incident to find the origin of the breach or attack. Example, malicious code, unauthorized access points. Remove malicious artifacts. Eliminate any malware, backdoors, or other components left behind by attackers. Patching and updates. Apply patches and security updates to fix vulnerabilities exploited during the attack. Reinforce security. Strengthen defense to ensure that the same type of attack cannot happen again. Number 5. Goal is restore systems and service to normal operation while ensuring that the threat is fully neutralized. Key activities. Restoring systems, bring affected system back online after ensuring they are clean and secure. Data restoration. Recover lost or corrupted data from backups. Monitoring. Continue monitoring for signs of reinfection or any residual malicious activity. Gradual restoration. Slowly bring back business operations to normal, ensuring that no system or data are overlooked. Number 6. Post-incident review. Goal is improve future incident response and security posture. Key activities. Post-incident analysis. Review the incident to understand what happened, how it was handled, and where improvements can be made. Reporting. Prepare a post-mortem report that outlines the timeline, impact, response effectiveness, and lesson learned. Updating the IRP. Based on the lesson learned, update the incident response plan to ensure better preparedness for future incidents. Training. Update employee and team training based on new insight and threat landscape. Importance of each phase. The preparation ensures that you're ready for an incident before it happens. Detection. Detection is critical for identifying attacks early to minimize damage. Containment. Minimize the impact and keeps the damage from spreading. Eradication removes threats, ensuring no traces of the attack remain. Recovery helps the organization return to normal operation with minimal downtime. Lesson learned. Improve future defense, making your security posture stronger. And this, my second topic is Security Operations Center or SOC and Threat Intelligence. A Security Operations Center or SOC is a central team that oversees and manages an organization's security stance. This unit usually comprises security experts tasked with detecting, addressing, and reducing security threats. In essence, the SOC team ensures that the organization functions securely. The four primary functions of security operations are identify an alert as potentially malicious and open an incident. Investigate the root cause and impact of the incident. Mitigate, recommend mitigation options to isolate and remove a threat. Continuous improvement, constantly adapt to process, visibility, and technology to improve in real time as incidents occur. SOC teams often work around the clock, continuously safeguarding an organizational digital infrastructure and maintaining peace of mind for stakeholders. These security experts utilize advanced tools to analyze network traffic and identify suspicious activities, allowing for swift incident response. Incident detection and response. When a security issue is detected, the SOC quickly assesses its seriousness, finds out where it came from, and takes steps to limit the damage. Incident response teams use established procedures to tackle threats like viruses, ransomware, service outage, and data breach. The first action is to contain the threat by isolating affected system and stopping its spread. After that, the SOC works to fix the problem to restore normal operation and prevent it from happening again. Tools used. Tools like CM help with event tracking and alerting, while automation tools like SOAR assist in managing incident. This is the SOC functions: prevention and proactive monitoring, security intelligence, recovery and remediation, security posture refinement, alert management, incident response, log management, and compliance. SOC tools and technologies, CM, or Security Information and Event Management, aggregates, analyzes, and correlates log data from different systems to identify potential security events. IDS or IPS or Intrusion Detection Prevention System, detect and block potential intrusions into the network. Endpoint Detection and Response or EDR, focus on monitoring and protecting endpoints such as workstation and servers from advanced threats. Threat intelligence feeds. SOCs use feeds that provide up-to-date information on known threats like IP address, domains, malware, signature, and iba pa, to detect and block attacks. Threat intelligence. Threat intelligence collects and analyzes information about possible security threats to enhance protection. DTES. SOC gather intelligence from various sources, including public and paid services and industry collaboration. This information can include current attack methods and strategies attackers use, helping SOCs find weakness and defend against new threats. Tools use various platforms, information feeds, and machine learning technique to analyze and prioritize threats. Event correlation. Event correlation connects different security events and incidents to uncover patterns or signs of a more significant attack. A single security event, example, a failed login attempt, might seem insignificant in isolation, but multiple events across different systems or times might point to a coordinated attack. Example, credential stuffing leading to a breach. By correlating data from various security tools, SOC team can identify complex, hidden attacks that might otherwise go unnoticed. Tools used. CM systems are key here, as they aggregate data from various sources and apply correlation rules to identify potential threats. Forensic analysis. Forensic analysis is conducted after an incident to understand what happened, how it happened, and the impact. The COC investigates the attack by analyzing affected system, reviewing logs, recovering deleted data, and sometimes even reversing malware. The goal is to build a timeline of data, identify exploited vulnerabilities, and understand the attacker's methods. The findings help you improve future defense and provide information for legal or regulatory reporting. Tools used. Forensic analysis tools include these data capture tools, file viewing tools, network and database forensic tools, and specialized analysis tools for file, registry, web, email, and mobile device analysis, and combined with CM and system logs. Security Operations Center or SOC and threat intelligence are both critical in today's cybersecurity landscape. The SOC provides the continuous monitoring and response capabilities, while threat intelligence ensures that the team has the information necessary to make informed decisions about the threats they are defending against. Combining the two enables a more proactive and effective security strategy. Digital forensic and evidence collection, chain of custody, and CM. Digital forensic and evidence collections are essential elements in the process of investigating cybercrimes, security breach, or incidents that involve digital data. The process focuses on identifying, preserving, analyzing, and presenting digital evidence in a way that ensures it is admissible in legal or organizational setting. Two critical components in this process are chain of custody and CM, security information and event management. Digital forensic and evidence collection. Digital forensic refers to the process of collecting, analyzing, and preserving data from digital devices like computers, mobile phones, servers, and etc. in a way that maintains its integrity for investigative or legal purposes. This process can involve everything from retrieving deleted files, analyzing network traffic, recovering data from storage devices, and even capturing live system data. Key steps in digital forensics. Identification. Identify the relevant digital device and media, example, hard drives, network logs, servers, and etc. that may contain potential evidence. Number two is collection. Collect digital evidence in a manner that prevents alteration or destruction of the data. This includes creating bit-for-bit copies of hard drives, capturing live memory, and copying relevant logs or files. Ensure the collection process does not change the data being collected. Number three is preservation. Preserve the collected evidence in its original state by creating proper documentation and ensuring it is stored securely. Use write blockers and other forensic tools to ensure that the data is not modified during the collection process. Number four is analysis. Analyze the collected evidence using specialized forensic tools to extract useful information. This may include file recovery log, analyze system analysis, timeline reconstruction, and more. Number five is presentation. Present the findings of the analysis in a clear, organized, and legally acceptable manner. This may involve preparing reports, providing testimony, or visualizing evidence for investigators, lawyers, or courts. Chain of custody. Chain of custody refers to the documentation and tracking of digital evidence from the moment it is collected until it is presented in court or used for investigation. Maintaining a proper chain of custody ensures that the evidence remains unaltered and has not been tampered with, thus preserving its integrity. Key elements of the chain of custody. Evidence collection. Document the exact time, date, and method of collection. Record all individuals involved in the collection process. Labeling and identification. Every piece of evidence should be uniquely labeled with a clear identification number, description, and the collection method. This can also include creating a forensic image of a device, which is a bit-for-bit copy. Documentation. Maintain a log that records each time the evidence is transferred, handled, or accessed. This should include the name and role of individuals who may handle the evidence, their purpose, the date, time, and any actions taken. Secure storage. Store is the evidence in a secure location, such as locked cabinet or an evidence locker. This ensures that unauthorized access is prevented. Transfer and handling. When evidence is transferred, ensure that proper documentation is maintained, and there is a chain of individuals who handle it. Court admissibility. In legal proceedings, if the chain of custody is not properly documented or preserved, the evidence could be challenged and it may not be admissible in court. CM or Security Information and Event Management. CM stands for Security Information and Event Management. It is a technology that provides real-time analysis and monitoring of security events and incidents within an IT environment. While not specifically a part of digital forensics, CM systems play an important role in evidence collection by aggregating, correlating, and storing logs and security event data, which can later be used in forensic investigations. CM key features: log collection and aggregation. CM systems collect log data from various devices, including firewalls, routers, servers, and endpoints. This data can be used to trace the actions leading up to or during a security incident. Event correlation. CM tools analyze logs and events to identify patterns of behavior that may indicate a security breach or ongoing attack. Real-time monitoring. CMs provide continuous monitoring of network traffic, user activities, and system behavior, helping detect anomalous or suspicious activity in real time. Alerting. If suspicious activities are detected, CMs can generate alert to notify security teams, helping them respond to threats quickly. Data retention. CM systems store log data and event information over time. Make it easier to track and analyze historical security incidents and providing an invaluable resource for digital forensics. Forensic support. When conducting a digital forensic investigation, logs and events stored in CMs can provide vital information about what occurred before, during, and after a security incident. CMs allow forensic investigators to retrace steps, identify compromised system, and recover evidence of malicious activity. How CM integrates with digital forensics? Data aggregation. CM systems centralize and correlate data from previous sources, creating a comprehensive timeline of events. Event timeline creation. CM helps investigators create a timeline of data, allowing them to identify when the compromise occurred, which systems were affected, and how attackers moved through the network. Search and query. CM system enable quick searches and queries to identify specific indicators of compromise IOC such as IP address, user activity, or file hashes related to an attack. Evidence preservation. By maintaining historical log data, CMs help preserve evidence for use in court or internal investigations. They also ensure that the integrity of the logs as tampering with CM logs will be easily detectable. Key points to remember. Digital forensics focus on the collection, analysis, and preservation of data from digital device for investigation. The chain of custody ensures that evidence is preserved, documented, and handled correctly so it can be used in legal or investigative proceedings. CM tools are essential in aggregating logs and security events and supportive real-time monitoring and providing invaluable evidence for digital forensic teams. This is my third topic, malware analysis and reverse engineering. Malware analysis and reverse engineering are essential practices in cybersecurity for identifying, understanding, and mitigating the risk posed by malicious software. These techniques help IT professionals, security researchers, and incident responders to understand the behavior of malware, determine how it works, and devise strategies for counteracting it. Types of malware analysis. There are two main types of malware analysis, static analysis and dynamic analysis. The static analysis is also known as code analysis. Their objective is to analyze the malware without executing it. This involves inspecting the malware's code, such as executable files or scripts, in a safe environment. This method does not run the malware but focus on analyzing its structure and identifying potentially harmful behavior. Tools used. Tools like hex editors, disassemblers, and decompilers, example, EDAPRO, Ghidra, and OliDBG, are used to inspect the binary code of the malware. And the second malware analysis, dynamic analysis, also known as behavioral analysis. Their objective is to analyze the malware by running it in a controlled environment and observing its behavior. This involves executing the malware in a sandbox or isolated environment to monitor how it interacts with the system. Example, which files it modifies, network connection it establishes. And the tools used is tools like Cuckoo Sandbox, Wireshark for network traffic analysis, PROCMON for monitoring system activity, and RegShot for monitoring registry changes are commonly used in a dynamic analysis. Reverse engineering malware. Reverse engineering involves deconstructing a program to understand how it works, typically by converting the compiled code back into a form that's easier to understand, such as assembly or higher level code. In malware analysis, reverse engineering is used to understand the functionality of a malicious program when its behavior or intent is unclear. Key reverse engineering techniques. Number one is disassembly. This involves taking a compiled executable and converting it into assembly code using tools like EDAPRO, Ghidra, or Radar2. The goal is to understand the logic behind the malware, including how it manipulates memory, interacts with the operating system, or communicates with external system. Decompiling. A step further than disassembly, decompiling attempts to recreate the source code from the compiled binary. While the code may not be exactly the same as the original source, it provides insights into the logic of the malware. Tools like Ghidra and Hexrace can be used for this purpose. Static and dynamic analysis combined. Often, malware reverse engineering is a mix of both static and dynamic techniques. While static analysis helps break down the code, dynamic analysis can be used to see the behavior of the malware in real time. By combining the two, you get a fuller picture of how the malware operates. The importance of malware analysis and reverse engineering. Understanding new threats. These techniques are vital for understanding new or unknown malware strains, zero-day threats, and providing actionable intelligence to security teams. Developing detection mechanism. By identifying IOC and understanding the behavior of malware, analysts can develop detection signatures, intrusion prevention rules, and other defense mechanisms to protect system. Incident response. In the case of a breach, malware analysis and reverse engineering help responders understand how the attack occurred, what systems were impacted, and how to effectively contain and mitigate the attack. Legal and compliance. In some cases, reverse engineering is used to gather evidence for legal action against cybercriminals or to comply with regulatory frameworks that require detailed incident reporting and analyzing. Malware analysis and reverse engineering are complex but critical components of cybersecurity. By understanding how malware operates, security professionals can develop better defense strategies, improve threat detection system, and assist in the incident response. Both static and dynamic analysis, alongside reverse engineering, provides insights into the malware inner workings and enable response to better protect system. Yan lang po, Prof.
Okay, so incident response process is important, no? Because again, as our presenter mentioned, no, incident response refers to the systematic approach organizations use to handle security breaches, cyber attacks, and other incidents. So a well-defined incident response framework typically follows the 6-phase model. No? So we have the preparation, wherein the organization develop policies, establish an incident response team, and implement security measures not to prevent accidents, no, or even incidents. No. Number 2 will be the identification, no? Wherein security teams detect and confirm security incidents through monitoring tools, intrusion detection system, and log analysis. Number 3 is the containment, no? Wherein the immediate priority is to prevent further damage by isolating affected systems, no, disabling compromised accounts, or blocking malicious traffic, no. Then right after containment, eradication, no. Security teams identify and remove the root cause of the incident, such as malware or unauthorized access points. Next, after eradication, will be the recovery. Now, systems are restored, patched, and monitored to ensure normal operation resume without lingering threats. Now, and lastly is lesson learned. After the incident, a review is conducted to document findings, improve our security strategies, and update response plan. Because a strong incident response plan, ensures that our company can react swiftly to cyber incidents, reducing financial losses, reputational damage, and regulatory penalties. Now, what will be the role of digital forensic? Digital forensic, again, involves the investigation of cybercrimes, data breaches, and security incidents by analyzing digital evidence. So the field plays a critical role in identifying attackers, uncovering malicious activities, and gathering legally admissible evidence for prosecution. So digital forensic experts follow a structured methodology to collect, preserve, analyze, and present digital evidence while maintaining the integrity of the data. There are several breaches of digital forensic, katulad ng network forensic. Examine or investigate, network traffic to detect malicious activities, unauthorized access, and data exfiltration. Computer forensic, examine digital devices such as desktop and laptops to recover deleted files, analyze logs, and identify malicious software. We have, of course, mobile forensic, focuses on extracting and analyzing data from smartphones and tablets. We have cloud forensic, investigate security incidents with cloud environment requiring expertise in cloud storage and virtualization technologies. Now, what will be the common cybersecurity incidents? Incident response teams deal with various types of cybersecurity threats. Number one, and common, malware attacks, like ransomware, Trojan horse, Trojans, and spyware compromise system and steal sensitive data. We have phishing and social engineering. Attackers manipulate users into revealing confidential information. And we have data breaches. Unauthorized access to database leads to data theft and regular consequences. Denial of service attacks or those attacks. The cyber criminals overwhelm networks, making them unavailable to users. And lastly is the insider threats. Employees or constructors misuse their access privileges to harm the organization. Each type of incident requires a tailored response strategy, emphasizing the need for continuous monitoring and threat intelligence. Now, what will be the tools and techniques for incident response and forensic? Incident response and digital forensic rely on specialized tools to investigate and mitigate threats effectively. Some commonly used tools, katulad po ng security information and event management o kaya yung SIEM. It aggregates and analyze security data from various sources to detect threats. We have forensic analysis tools, software like Autopsy, InCase, and FTK help recover and examine digital evidence. We have network monitoring tools like Wireshark and Snort. It allows security teams to analyze network traffic and detect the anomalies. And lastly, the most common is another thing is the endpoint detection and response, or the ADR. Solutions like CrowdStrike and Sentinel-1, it monitors endpoints for suspicious activities. So through leveraging these tools, security teams can enhance their ability to detect, analyze, and respond to cyber incident efficiency. Now, what will be the legal and ethical consideration in digital forensic? Maybe somebody are asking, digital forensic is must adhere to strict legal and ethical guidelines to ensure the admissibility of evidence in court, and maintain privacy compliance. Investigator follow the chain of custody and a documented process that ensures evidence integrity and prevent tampering. No? Adherence to laws such as the General Data Protection Regulations and the Computer Fraud and Abuse Act and the Data Privacy Act and Cybercrime 2012 is critical when handling digital evidence. Moreover, ethical considerations such as respecting user privacy and avoiding unauthorized data access play a significant role in forensic investigation. So organization must establish a clear guidelines and policies to ensure forensic activities align with legal and ethical standards. So what will be the challenges in incident response and digital forensics? Now, despite the technological advancement, security teams face several challenges in responding to incident and conducting forensic investigation. Number one, evolving cyber threats. Now, attackers continuously develop new techniques, making it difficult to stay ahead. Number two, data encryption and anti-forensic techniques. Now, cyber criminals use encryption and obfuscation, no? Or obfuscation, no? Methods not to hide their trust, no? Nabulol ako sa obfuscation, no? Large volumes of data, no? They investigate large-scale cyber incidents requires extensive data analysis, which can time-consuming. And another is the cloud and IoT complexities. Forensic investigation in cloud and Internet of Things environment present unique challenges due to distributed data storage and varying access control. To address these challenges, organization must invest in continuous training, threat intelligence, and advanced security technologies. So what will be the best practices for effective incident response? To enhance incident response capabilities, you and the organization should implement the following best practices. Number one, you need to develop a clear incident response plan. A well-documented IRP ensures a structured approach to handling security incidents. Number two, you need to conduct regular security audits, periodic assessment, help identify vulnerabilities, and strengthen defenses. Number three, implement multi-factor authentication because adding layers of security prevents unauthorized access. Number four, train employees on cybersecurity awareness, educating staff on phishing, social engineering, and security password practices reduces human-related risk. And lastly, automate threat detection and responses. Using AI-driven security solution enhances incident detection and speed of responses time. So through following these practices, organization can proactively mitigate cyber threats and enhance their resilience against attacks. Now, so what will be the future trends in incident response and digital forensic? Now, the field of incident response and digital forensic is rapidly evolving with new trends, shaping the future of cybersecurity. Artificial intelligence and machine learning are being integrated into security operations to automate threat detection and analysis. Additionally, zero trust security models are becoming more prevalent, requiring continuous authentication and strict access controls to prevent breaches. Furthermore, the adoption of blockchain-based forensic is gaining attention as method to ensure the integrity and traceability of digital evidence. So as cloud computing and IoT devices continue to grow, the professional or security professionals must adapt their forensic methodologies to handle complex environments effectively. Okay? So, to cut in short, incident response and digital forensic are essential pillars of cybersecurity, enabling organizations to detect, mitigate, and investigate cyber threats. A proactive incident response strategy combined with advanced forensic techniques helps organizations minimize risk, recover from attacks, and strengthen their security posture. So as cyber security threats continue to evolve, staying ahead of adversaries, no, through innovations, training, and a strategic planning is critical for safeguarding digital asset and ensuring long-term cybersecurity resilience. Okay, so I think that's it for this